and they're shooting like over 4K, 6K.
And the files are too big.
And because the producers are requesting these cameras and they're shooting it all, but then they end up having to dumb it down. Not 1080.
Yeah, no.
They dumb it down to like 720 or worse. Yep. And I'm like, I don't get it. Remember, I sent it the first time. They're like, well, we need to have it in these dimensions and this and that. And apparently, I didn't do it all the official. Yeah. I'm like, sorry, I didn't get anything. You didn't like tell me.
Give me TV parameters.
Yeah, what your parameters are. Apparently, my parameters were too big. So,
all right.
Yeah, I had to dumb it down a little bit for Fox.
For me, I'm more of like the front end of it.
I'm just making it up. Of a similar nature or character.
JMKast. JMKast.
But we get shocked often by Chris.
If you Google my name, it always pulls up Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan. That's another story for another time, though.
Hello. It's JMKast. Welcome back. Hey, out there in podcast land.
It's got to be podcast land. I can't think where else it would be. The internet?
I mean, it's not Lego land.
Oh, Legoland's fun, though.
I've never been.
I don't think I have been either.
But anyway, hey, if you will just shoot us a like and subscribe to our podcast so we can you'll get to see when they come out.
And if you like it, share it with your friends.
Yes, please. So we're just trying to kind of grow it and let people listen. And anyway, enough of that.
Yeah, right.
So back to Legoland.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a toy room, so I would say it's a man cave, but it's not. It's a toy storage facility.
I feel like I'm about to be attacked over here on my left.
Well, it is Starscream from the Decepticons, and he may do that. He's
evil.
Those little guys are all evil.
I mean, they've got like weapons and stuff aimed at me.
I do think they move at night. I definitely have come in the morning and seen stuff in different places where I think they move.
If you don't recall, I've slept in this room, and I'm pretty sure I saw some movement.
That's funny. Christmas, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in my toy cave. I would say
this is your office.
Yeah, office/toy cave.
It's got your computer where you edit.
It does. It has two computers.
Yeah,
and then it has many things just sitting in boxes on the floor or needing to be either sold or relocated for storage.
It's a project.
It is. It's ongoing. I got about 80 items for sale right now, and always buying and selling.
Extra income can't hurt, and it's a fun hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of my favorite hobbies.
Is it?
It can be frustrating at times.
I thought poker was your favorite hobby.
No, for poker pisses me off. I'm not playing for a while.
What happened?
My laptop always went through a wall the other night.
What happened?
Just playing, and I only play online. I don't play live very much, and every time I had a monster hand, someone had one card bigger, and it was just very annoying. Like, it just very, very frustrating.
Bad beats?
Oh, horrible beats. Like, flopped a full house and then lose to a bigger full house. Flopped quads, lost to bigger quad. Like,
in multiple sessions. Potential bad beats that could get you money somewhere.
Potential bad beats make me think I'm just cheating. I don't know. It's very frustrating. I've never deposited 1 penny on that site.
Right. You play what they call the micro stakes.
So, and I've run it up to, I think it was over $500.
That's right. For not having any money of your own.
I won 2 free rolls.
It's actually pretty incredible. Actually.
I won 2 free rolls.
Yep.
And then I also won a $2 buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
And I took third in another $2 buy-in. So that's where most of my money came from. And then I played a bunch of small, like 50-cent tournaments I'm down. There's no way I'm up overall on those because it's impossible. Like, you just can't. I don't care how good you are. You're not going to win long term in that. You have to start moving up stakes.
Right.
And I get a little gun shy to do that. So also, I don't want to do that. Like, if I'm going to play poker, I'd rather play live.
Oh, for sure.
So, and last time I played live, I did really well. So,
and the WSBT just finished up. We love like watching how everyone does and wishing we were there. I tried to go, but we had some client stuff
next year
pop up. In fact, the week I actually had booked to go ended up being like one of our busiest
second or third busiest week of the year thus
far. For us. And I just had to cancel. I was like,
I felt so bad.
I was really disappointed.
I felt so bad for you.
You know, there's always next year, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'll get a tournament in somewhere.
They had a good summer though.
Oh, they did. It was good to see that they're, back and strong. I mean, I know they did the one this fall, which, they don't normally do it in the fall.
Right, because of the COVID pushback, or they didn't want to lose a year.
But they went ahead and still had it this summer.
Yeah.
And it was good to see, and it was a real good turnout.
At the new venue, too, because they moved it over to Paris and...
I think it was the second...
What's it?
Was it the second largest main event ever?
Yeah. I don't know the numbers, but it was the second largest.
Yeah. I forget what the first place was. It 8 million or 10 million?
First million was 10. First place was 10.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way they structured the payout, because when you look at it, and the World Series always does it. They make the top two so like heavy. To me, it's like, yeah, that's fine, but to me, it's like, why don't you make first place 8 million and break that down a little bit more? And I don't necessarily think you need to pay out a larger percent of the field, but maybe make a min cash more than $1,000 or $1,500.
Right.
To me, it's like, I think a min cash was 2,000. It's like, okay, so you're making 2,000, but it's like, I don't know. Then if you're going to do that, then pay another 5% of the field. Like, you have that many people coming, make it so more people get paid so they come back.
Right.
Great, cool. One guy wins $10 million. Awesome. Is that guy necessarily going to put that money back into the poker community? Not necessarily.
So I'm going to tell you a story, and it actually relates to poker.
Okay.
And video production.
Okay. Well, that's perfect.
I know. What a segue. So I went to some WPT training camps type of things where you.
I remember those. They did those a while ago. Yeah.
I went to one or two of those, and then I got to know the people the teachers.
Okay.
Really well, and then, oops, they're already attacking. The toys.
Big glass case right next to you.
Holy cow! I'm gonna put my elbow through that.
Yeah, please don't. I don't want you to go to the hospital.
I didn't mean to.
We'll switch seats next time.
So anyway, the WPT they travel around the country doing these camps, and
it corresponds with each city they stop in, right?
Yeah.
Or is it just is it separate?
Well, they came to Dallas when I went.
Oh, okay.
There's no tournaments in Dallas.
There's
I mean,
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but anyway, I got to meet them, and they were about to have some promotional camp that was going to be in Puerto Rico at this like 6-star. I know 6-star. You ever heard of a 6-star? A resort in Puerto Rico. It's supposed to be like the only 6-star resort.
Okay.
And I don't know. It was called El Dorado.
Okay.
I remember that, and it had a giant parrot or something in the lobby. I remember that. So obviously, I get there. What I did.
Oh, did you win? Okay.
Yes, I went.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was there. It was my first time to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Been twice now, both times for work related in video.
I was going to say one story I know of.
Yeah. But this was for WPT. I was there working. They paid my all my expenses and stuff.
Oh, wow.
I had to buy some meals here and there, but those were like off meals where I wasn't with a group of people. But what I did was I shot like all these classes, because they brought in, the guy that pretty much started the poker boom.
Moneymaker?
They had Moneymaker there.
Chris Moneymaker. We found out his last name's not Moneymaker.
Todd Brunson.
Oh, Todd. I have a great story about Todd.
Yeah. They had TJ Cloutier. They had the two top ranking women in poker that were already in the Hall of Fame. I forget what their names were, but
I would know one of them.
One of them did pretty well in some events this year. I noticed. So they're still
Jen Harmon by chance. Well, she only played one event this year though, because she's dealing with medical issues still.
So they would have all these where they played, and then they have the classes, and then they would do these little interview session like things. And I recorded everything I could possibly record.
Right.
And then when I came back from it at the end, I put together a commercial that went with the WPT.
I had to have seen that.
Yeah. I put a commercial together that actually went with it. Then it was on Fox Southwest or all the different Fox. Which is now, I think, what Bally's is now. But it used to be Fox.
Yeah.
And yeah, I put this commercial together for him that ran over and over.
There's no way I didn't.
And because I remember I sent it the first time. They're like, well, we need to have it in these dimensions and this and that. And apparently I didn't do it the official. I'm like, sorry, I didn't get anything. You didn't like tell me.
Give me TV parameters.
Yeah, what your parameters are. Apparently my parameters were too big. So,
all right.
Yeah, I had to dumb it down a little bit for Fox.
It is Fox.
Well, I've heard a lot about that where a lot of people request like the cameras we're talking about, the Aries, the Reds, and they're shooting like over 4K, 6K. And
the files are too big.
And because the producers are requesting these cameras and they're shooting it all, but then they end up having to dumb it down, not 1080.
Yeah, no,
they dumb it down to like 720 or worse. Yep. And I'm like, I don't get it.
The station that I worked at, the cable network I worked at for a while, that was our big thing. Was like, this story. Essentially, it was it was called ALN, and it was a small, just offshoot cable channel. It was a lot of family entertainment stuff. Like their whole thing was everything is family, which is great, but almost everything we got was 720, and I was like, we can do 1080 or even 4K, and they're like, no, 720, and then most of it. But I'm like, we're all on tape too.
For those
which was weird.
For those that don't know what don't even have a clue what we're talking about, 720, 1080, 4K, 6K, 4.8K. I mean, we're rattling all these numbers, and people are like going that don't have anything to do with video production, going, what the heck are they talking about?
It's all your quality.
Yeah, it's basically when you look at the screen, how strong the megapixel. It's like in a picture with a camera,
right? Like
the megapixel.
Here's the best way to look at it. Look at highlights from the NFL 15 years ago, and they look grainy, and they looked good when they were broadcast,
right?
And if you look at the years, how the NFL's every year it gets better. Just think of it like that. It's older is worse. It's smaller is worse, and they had to be smaller.
Unless they were in
they
film.
Didn't have a choice. But film was different.
Yeah, film because film is still one of the truest. Quality, consistent qualities, but now movies they're shooting above film grade.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Nolan shoots in 50 millimeter, 8K max. I mean, you can't get any. There's no camera that gets any better than what he uses,
right?
And then he destroys the cameras.
Well, I mean, they have a big budget.
Well, they did that with...
Don't we do that with all our
They did that with Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road. They destroyed 3 cameras, and they told Frank Miller, the director, not Frank Miller.
They could have just used a GoPro.
I'm saying the wrong name. It's not Frank Miller, right? I'm drawing it's not Frank Miller. Dang it, I'm going to say it's wrong. Anyway, they told George Miller. they had told him, they're like, hey, you can't do this anymore. You can't show any more cameras. And he goes, okay, can I buy 50 of Canon 5D Mark IVs? Or maybe Mark II. Anyway, and they go, why? He goes, because I'm going to destroy them. And they were like, so he was able to buy 50 cameras for the price of one, Red or whatever they were using. And so when you watch that movie, almost all the action sequences in that movie where cameras just get you can tell the camera gets obliterated because something happens. It's a Canon 5D. And you're like, that's what we can use. Like we have, we use one. But to have a 5D and think you can just destroy that camera is crazy.
Yeah, we're not going to destroy that camera.
No, it's not mine. I don't want to have to explain to the person whose camera it is why it's destroyed.
We could get one though. We could get one.
Yeah.
That's my story with poker.
Wow,
going from
awesome.
poker to video production. I did that, and I still to this day I still have like all those interviews and everything on some hard drives, but they're older hard drives, so I need to figure out how to like
transition them
to a newer hard drive and pull because I mean there's some interviews and stories on there that I've never seen. The world hasn't seen them.
So I have from my old station. I still have beta tapes of Red Wing locker room and Michigan locker room stuff.
Yeah,
that I would love to. I need to put it on. I should have done it when I were at our old employer when I had time, because I could have done it there.
Yeah,
and I never did. Well, those tapes are so old. I'm afraid they may have real bad artifacting in them.
Right.
I've been keeping some of them in our walk-in over there, and the temperature. There's no way they're good.
Yeah, but I mean that was one of the most fun, like just kind of freelance gigs.
Oh yeah,
and I was at Channel 8 when I did it.
That's awesome.
So I just took a week off, spent a week in Puerto Rico.
That's awesome.
Doing that, I used another person's camera. I rented it from him, and I took it out there with all his gear. And
Oh wow!
So
It's got to be nice when you can take a hobby and do an event out of it. Like
Yeah.
there's just something fun
Yeah.
about when you know
Yeah.
because you know what they're doing.
well, we're still trying to do it like within our business too. Because
I've reached out to some poker
we
bloggers.
came close. We came close.
Still think
and
we should've.
I think we're gonna. I think we eventually, because I mean, it's just our two worlds are gonna cross over eventually to do something.
Yeah. I mean, I reached out to one the other day, and she said she was interested. So who knows? Maybe I won't put her name out there yet.
Yeah,
but maybe she reaches
we won't
out.
share
But
names.
if she, hey, maybe we can get her as a guest, and she's moving.
Only reason I
to
said
the area.
WPT was because it was actually that's
Right.
who all that was for.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was fun and totally relates to what we're doing now.
That's awesome, man.
So
Gotta love it when hobbies. I just love it when hobbies can come together.
so it's football season.
It is football season.
I mean, we were just talking about it the last
First
time.
game's tomorrow night.
There's a game. Oh,
Hall of Fame game's
There's
tomorrow.
an-
I think the Hall of Fame game's tomorrow.
who's
night.
playing? You
You would ask me that. I'll know here in about 2 seconds. Hang on. Let me
Okay.
pull up
Well, in the
screen while we
meanwhile,
talk.
Cowboys camp has started.
They don't have any
and-
receivers, so it'll be fun this year.
Oh, they just lost one of the ones that they had that I don't even know who he is. So
Jaguars and the Raiders play on tomorrow night.
okay, isn't it usually the champion and like in the past it's been like the champion and some other team usually or some
In
sort
the Hall of Fame game?
yeah, because I mean
I don't know.
I guess it
That's possible.
and then don't they do the Hall of Fame like the next day or something like that?
Sunday, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
is.
because the Hall of Fame game's played in Canton, right?
Oh, yeah. So they'll do that on Sunday.
Well, that's why it's called the Hall of Fame game. Duh.
Yep.
Duh.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if the Hall of Fame game deals with who's going in. Like, are there a couple Raiders
well,
going in? Maybe?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
I wonder if a
think
couple
it's
Raiders are going in or
It just
something.
in the past, I think it just some of the people that were on the championship team also. That team had people going in.
I'm trying to think any Jaguars that would go in. I mean,
Is it old enough to have Hall
the
of Fame
only
players?
guy I could think would be their old quarter. Was one of their old quarterbacks potentially a Hall
Because
of Fame
I'm
guy?
like, it's still relatively new,
I'm
isn't
trying
it?
to think of that dude's name.
Them in Carolina.
Yeah,
Who else started? About was it just
They're
them?
it's them and the Texans. They're the last three franchises.
The Oilers
Are they the
became
last three franchises?
as Oilers became Nashville,
I'm trying to think. Are they the last three franchises? Yeah, they're the last three franchises.
right? The Titans are
Titans
the
were
original
the
Oilers.
original Houston Oilers.
So anyway, Cowboys camp.
Cowboys camp.
I've never been.
I have been.
What
I didn't go to Oxnard. I did it when they were in San Antonio.
was it inside? At
It
least
was in the dome.
Oh well, at least you were inside.
Yeah, and we were there. I was there with. Anyway, I met him through a series of friends, and he said he needed a shooter, and I had experience, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I got paid really well for the 3 days I was down there too. Like he paid me a dumb amount.
What
of money.
were you using camera wise?
Whatever his little junky
they-
Sony, he had an awful. It wasn't even high def. It was standard. It was awful. It was such a bad camera. It looked like a news camera when you put it on your and it sat. The only problem is when you put it on your shoulder. You know how you have to have your hand up and in the trigger. It was so close to your face that your arm would get tired very quickly. So you couldn't our news cameras, your arm tends to be out a little bit more, so it just doesn't get as tired as fast.
Right.
And he just had these little dinky cameras, and then he had just the worst mics. And it was such a pain in the butt. But the reporter that I was down there with,
Well, who was it for? Or what was it for?
it was for News Without the Blues. And he paid myself and a reporter. So we were down there for 2 or 3 days. I think we were there 3 days. And we just did stories. And you're going to laugh when I tell you what we did most of our stories on. The cheerleaders.
No, I was going to say
That's what he wanted.
Well, actually, I've been told the cheerleaders aren't there most of the time. So
when we
I'm
were there,
surprised-
they were there for a day.
I'm
So
surprised you were able to get much.
Well, here's
Because
why.
usually they're only there so they open camp on the Sunday, Monday or whatever, have the
Yeah,
big
I don't-
Jerry Jones
Yeah.
thing. And then by that Saturday they have I forget what they call it, but Saturday's the big.
Yeah.
Well, that's when the cheerleaders show.
Well, so we were there. I think we were there 2 days. The one whole day was with the cheerleaders. We didn't even pay attention to football one day, which bugged me, but whatever. But we had done a piece a month earlier on the cheerleaders that we got full access. It was awesome. It was actually really cool. Like we were in their training facility. We interviewed one of the girls that we interviewed. Her name was Abby. She actually was in a couple Adam Sandler movies. but we'd had a really good kind of connection with them. He had a good connection with them. So they invited him down to camp, and he said, well, cool. Could we see if we can cover the team for a day too? And that's how it worked out. So it ended up being interesting. It was a very interesting combo. And then the second day we did the players, the football and stuff. And I remember Tony Romo was doing the quarterback, the gun machine where it like fires it out to him. I'm like, why is he doing? He was doing receiving, like catching drills.
All right.
And I was trying to figure it out, and then I realized, it was for snappers. Like it was a snap. He had set it up so it was like long, like shotgun snaps. And I was like, oh, okay. It just didn't make sense to me why he was doing it. And then I realized it was because it wasn't going as fast as it was supposed to. But he did that for like 20 minutes, like as close to me as you are. That's how close we were.
Right.
But yeah, camp was interesting. It's weird. I've never seen college camps. I've seen.
How many people were there just to watch it, like fans?
Oh, the place was packed. Mm-hmm. Like it was Alamo Stadium. So the end zones were empty. There was no one in the end zones, but on the sidelines, like the upper part of where it was just packed. Like there was probably, I bet there was 5,000 or 6,000 people there easy.
What about media? How many cameras?
200.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was there.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I, at the time, didn't know Dallas very well. I'd only been in Dallas for a couple of years. But I knew faces. Joe Trahan, for example, I saw him. I didn't talk to him, but I saw him. RJ Choppy from one of the radio stations, him and I ended up kind of becoming buddies and chit-chatting the day and a half we were there, day we were there on the football side. But yeah, it was crazy to me how many people were there just to watch them practice. And I was like, we're in a different world. Because in Michigan, the Lions aren't like that. The Lions are not, I mean, they are now, but back then it wasn't. They just weren't.
Yeah.
But I also am not a Lions fan. I mean, I grew up in Michigan, but I'm not a Lions fan.
Well, who are you a fan of?
I like players better. So I'm a huge Michigan football.
Yeah.
But I like players. So I like to see the Michigan guys. So like this year, I'll be a little more of a Lions fan because Aiden Hutchinson was the number 2 pick, and he was awesome for Michigan last year.
Yeah.
And I want to see him be successful.
Right.
So I tend to like players. Like
It's kind of hard to be a Lions fan.
I don't understand Lions fans.
Since Barry Sanders.
That's when I stopped. When he quit, I stopped. So
And
to
he
all
just
my
kinda-
Lions fans and all my Lions friends, I still love you. And if they ever go to the Super Bowl, I will not jump on the bandwagon as promised.
Okay. But you'll support them. Mm-hmm. You just won't be like, ooh, and wear all your Lions gear.
It would be
go
awesome
like,
for the state of Michigan for the Lions to be successful. Like, I think they need it more than most teams in the league. Just because of how that state is. But the Lions aren't allowed to win. They're not. They are not allowed to win.
How much do you think they hate that their quarterback left, and the very first year after he left, he got a Super Bowl?
You'd be surprised that they support him way more than they hate him. My friends are all happy
Like
for him.
they wanted him to win.
Yeah, they were bummed he couldn't do it here, and I was surprised because
They didn't have the team around him.
And when
They had a couple pieces.
dude, think about this.
Nothing like LA.
They had Megatron. You couldn't win with one of the greatest receivers in the history of the game.
Well, they went to the playoffs with Megatron
And
pretty consistently.
Did nothing. You know, how do you have those pieces? They had Dominic and Sue at one point. Like, they had Hall of Fame players and could do nothing with it because they're the lie downs.
Well, but
I don't ever call them Lions. I always call them lie downs.
oh no.
Because what do? They lie down.
Oh man. So I was going to talk about some of my experiences with football, but
Yeah, but you've had more opportunity to do more stuff. Like mine's
I feel
more,
like your experiences with football are way more exciting than mine.
my Michigan football stuff
but
is good.
I'm just not recalling a lot of them right at the very minute.
My Michigan football stuff was really good.
I'll tell you one of my more favorite football experiences, and it is a very important, like right now, still a historical moment. And that is the very last time Texas A&M and University of Texas played each other
Oh, that's cool.
at College Station.
That's awesome.
I was working with George Reba.
Okay.
That's who I was down there
Love
with.
George.
And
balls,
it was
as I
the
call 'em.
very, very last time they played each other.
Oh, wow.
I was at that game. Yeah. I think, I want to say Colt wasn't the quarterback.
Oh,
I remember his dad was at the game but Colt wasn't the quarterback, I don't think. I'm not really remembering the game so much. I just that's a significant game I know I worked at, and I remember I want to say they won with a field goal at the very end too.
Oh wow!
Because I feel like one of the last plays was a field goal, and I remember standing behind the field goal, like waiting for it to come over.
Through.
And I remember them all like, you know, kind of having everybody with someone up, you know, up on their shoulders type of moment, and
that's awesome.
Having my camera up there. But there's that. Obviously, I did several Texas Red Rivalry type games.
I've still not done that yet. I do want to go to it at some point.
Okay, so other games that I did that I remember. I remember after Baylor had their big debacle of scandal.
Yeah.
I was there the first game back with the new coach. But I think it's
didn't they go 0-13 that year or 1-12?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think
but it was the very first game back, home game back, and his son was still on the team. And my biggest assignment was that his son was wearing some sort of supportive bracelet
for Art Briles
for his dad. So my whole focus, like I was shooting the game, but I was trying to find him and get the shot of this bracelet,
so you can see it.
But you know, it was kind of hard because he kind of stayed in the middle, and But I eventually got it, but it was like that was the prize of the day was to get the shot of the bracelet that he was wearing.
That's crazy.
So
I never had an assignment where I had to get like something like that,
like something odd. While I get those all the time. I was also connecting that game. I was at Art Briles' first high school coaching game when he started coaching, when he came back afterwards.
That's interesting.
So I was at that game, but I don't think I ever did a Baylor game when Art Briles was actually the coach. So I don't recall that.
I was at the Michigan game where Rich Rodriguez said, "I don't need this," and threw aside the Michigan Man book, and the whole room like mouth hit the floor, and everyone went, "Oh, he's gonna fail here."
Okay, I don't know what that means.
The Michigan Man book was created. I believe it was a Bo Schembechler thing, but it was essentially these are all the things that make someone a Michigan man. So like these things are the important things, and he just disregarded it. And then he turned around and gave the number 1 to somebody without even a hesitation. And for anyone in Michigan, anyone outside of that doesn't understand, it's like wearing 88 in Dallas. You have to earn it. You don't just get it. Although here you kind of can just get it in terms of like CeeDee Lamb got it, whatever. But you got to be good enough to get that. Well, in Michigan, you have to earn the number 1. You don't just get it. So you better, if you're wearing number 1, you've caught a touchdown in a big game a couple times. You're the leader in the locker room. You've earned the right to wear the number 1.
Right.
And he just didn't care about any of that stuff. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to do my own thing." And it was like, "You are going to fail here." And he did.
Yeah.
And he failed miserably.
So other than that, I've done who knows how many Cowboy games. I've been at so many different Cowboy games. I've never done camp, but I've done.
Have I gone to a Cowboy game? I don't think I have.
No, I've done them, and a lot of times I would do them where I'm doing like a news angle. Right. So you shoot a little bit of game and a little fan, but
fan packs.
Reaction packs. I've probably been to like 50 games, if not more.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
No, but again, so I can't. I've been to championship games college wise a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's how Mike Richard ended up being at Channel 8 because me and him, he was working for the Nebraska station. I was working for Channel 8, but of course, being the UT fan I am, UT won with the field goal that particular game, and we had some openings, and I just would go to random people, say, "Hey, you got anybody that wants to come to Dallas?" And then someone pointed out Mike, and me and Mike talked, and next thing you know.
His adventure's been interesting.
Yeah, and anyway,
I like Mike. I miss
he's
Mike.
in I think the Philippines right now. Yeah,
he's been there for a while.
Or
they're planning it for a while.
Yeah, they've been planning
That's
it
what it was.
But they just left, I think, in June.
Okay, and they've been planning it for a while.
Yeah, because I took him to one of the playoff games.
Okay.
And then I knew he was about to take off. But he's another incredible videographer.
Very much so.
And I did a very important piece with him, which won an Edward R. Murrow National.
Oh,
yeah. He was
the West. He
the
was
West documentary.
Part of West, yeah.
Yeah, and which also was about football.
High school. Yeah.
Well, it was actually not
about the town.
It was about the town and the
the
fertilizer explosion, but we used the football team as kind of like the
centerpiece of the story.
Yeah, and how they go through everything, because I think the team hadn't won a game the year before.
Really?
They were undefeated. New coach just comes in. They have the explosion. He's a hometown boy, the head coach. And then, of course, while we're following, they finally win a game.
Wow.
They're actually pretty good now, from what I know. They've actually gotten pretty good.
I love the ability with what we do to like tell people stories. That's like when you have something like that, you can't turn that down. You have to be like, you're gonna give us full access to something where we can make, your originally thought is probably just, we're gonna make a couple small stories, and then all of a sudden you realize quickly, like, no, this is a big thing. And it's like, that's just my favorite part of being able to tell people stories. Like,
right.
Some people ask me, what do we do? I'm like, storyteller. And they're like, huh? I'm like,
yeah.
Video production company, but we're storytellers. Like, that's our focus, is telling stories. Like, even most of our clients, that's what we do. We tell their stories.
And I still have a souvenir from that particular documentary.
Ooh.
It was on David Schechter's desk. He had it for the longest time, and when I left, he handed it to me. Or no, I think maybe the year before he handed it to me, and I put it in the edit bay. And then I finally took it home with me.
Before they gutted him?
Yeah, and then so I still have it, but it's the coach's, it's a high school photo of him in his football uniform from high school, in his West uniform.
That's cool though.
But I need to get it back to him, like
the story,
because he's still in West. Right. I'm sure he would like to have this picture back, but we've apparently held on to it for like I don't know, not quite a decade yet, but
that's still awesome.
You're probably like, did they ever given my picture back?
I may have forgotten about it.
Maybe. I'm gonna stop by. I go through West every once in a while, so
that'd be cool.
Stop by and knock on it.
Hey, it's a good little sound effect.
Hey. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's awesome. What do you think? You ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, let's get out of here. We've been doing this long enough.
So I guess that's the music.
Yeah, that's the get out of here music. We're getting played off like the Oscars. Like, share, subscribe.
And we'll
see you next time.
Comment.
Can't wait. I'm always
Tell
excited.
us what you like, don't like, and share us with all your friends.
Ask a question.
Bye.
See ya.